Right. So as part of our Guidewire development learning is concerned, we must be knowing about what exactly the variables are and where the variables are being used in the underwriting. Because whenever we are working on the policy center, we have to update the underwriting rules. Based on the underwriting rules that are updated, system will act upon. Either it can be driver's age, right? So it can be vehicle condition for anything of that kind. So today we are discussing about why variables are used in underwriting rules. At the same time, where are these variables are being used here? At the same time, we will take some functional scenario so that one should understand. Variables, especially on the underwriting rules, majorly used when we are updating the driver's age, because any personal auto or if any commercial auto, right? So we must be mentioning about the driver age. At the same time, what is the value of the particular vehicle. A customer wants to insure the vehicle, so the vehicle value has to be updated. Or else it can be a construction type. Construction type, I can say this driver age per any LOB, something like personal or commercial auto. Okay, this is for driver's age and all. We will be using as far as LOBs are concerned. Vehicle value even for the same as above. Same as above. So construction type, maybe this can be related for right. So this can be related even for um, homeowner insurance. Okay. Homeowners insurance means personal property or something like, okay, prior losses. And this is maybe for commercial this thing, okay, for commercial liability, all that kind of stuff, right? So this is all about that. Next, coverage limits. This is not something specified for anything, but generally these coverage limits, etc., majorly we will be using in the commercial policies. Either it can be commercial auto, right? It can be a personal auto. Generally, these commercial limits are being used in this regard. So, why variables are used in underwriting rules? Because underwriting rules, when we want to check the policy data, something like driver's age, vehicle value, and all, variables are being used for this, right? So, second, when variables are being used, right? So, when and where these variables are being used. Generally, variables are used whenever we are writing the underwriting rules, which are in the configuration side. Either if you want to perform any product designer, right? So because product designer, where we can configure different products. For example, any customer, right? Any customer maybe belongs to an industry. He wants to insure their commercial property at the same time their commercial vehicles in one single policy. Being an insurance company, what we do, right? So we have to customize the product where there will be only one single quotation and single premium, one single premium. All the coverages, whatever is prescribed, will be updated in that. So, in the process, what is required? So, there must be some configuration of the particular product by combining commercial auto as well as the commercial auto as well as personal property and commercial auto under the product designer. So, product designing configuration that we want to make so that coverages can also be customized. So with a single premium, a customer can pay that and coverage benefits, everything will be enjoyed by the customer if there is any loss of that kind of sort. So product designer is the one where these underwriting rules are being configured in. Next, underwriting rule sets, because when we are working on the policy center, you must be knowing there are underwriting rules we have, right? So when you see the policy center as a UI, so under the administration, you will be finding the business rules. There you will be finding the underwriting rules where we have to be, where we have to update it first. After that, whenever we go to the developer studio, there we have to update the underwriting rule sets. Next, in the same developer studio, we have to perform goes-to based rule logic as well, right? So these are the three areas where underwriting rules are being configured. Provided if you want to configure this can be triggered, these variables can be triggered when we want to submit a quotation to the customer. For example, customer has submit an application where they want quotation first, okay? Or else quotation has accepted by the customer, it is considered as a binding. So binding happens. After that, let's say policy is issued to the customer against to the payment, policy is in force. Now customer wants some kind of changes to be made in the policy. So it can be a policy change. Or customer is coming up with renewals. So we can do some renewals as well. All these things can be triggered, right? So when where the variables are being used, even when this triggering is going on, where either at the time of quotation level or at the time of binding the policy, at the same time, or if there is any changes in the policy or renewals, all these things will be applicable. Now, a sample functional example, a scenario, particular scenario I have taken. For example, young driver referral. Okay, young driver referral is a particular scenario I have taken. Means driver who is young in terms of the age. Okay, either it can be for personal or commercial auto. Now, first and foremost thing, we must define the business rule. What is the business rule here? For example, assume that whenever customer has submitted the application, we have identified, the system has identified, stated that the driver's age is below than 25 years. It means on the date of application submission, by the time, if we can calculate, the driver age is below than 25 years of age. Okay, below than 25 years of age immediately, because this 25 years may vary, because some people say that some companies may take this as a under the 18 years. Okay, maybe, right? So maybe 20 years, under 20 years they mean, right? So between 18 to 20, some people can say under 25. Depends on company to company, this will vary. Logic can be applied. So for example, customer has told us that driver age is, if driver age is lesser than 25, this has to be verified to the underwriting team. So the underwriting team do the risk assessment. Why? Because driver is a young in terms of the age is concerned. Whether the quotation can be issued or policy can be issued or not will be decided by the underwriting team based on the risk assessment they have made. Now, so for that, first of all, we have to declare a variable. So this is a variable we have to declare. For example, driver age equal to policy.driver.age. So this is a variable that has to be declared. Policy.driver.age is a variable which has to be declared. If you want to declare this variable, again I'm repeating, when you go to the policy center screen, UI, user interface, go to admin part, admin tab. Under that you will be finding business rule. In the business rule you will be finding underwriting rules. There you will be finding an option called new underwriting rule. Okay, click on the new underwriting rule, update all these, update all the information about the whatever the particular user underwriting rule you have taken, update all the informations, block binding, block quote, right? All these things update. After that, you will be finding an option called variable. Okay, you can see whenever you go to the user interface and see, you will be finding, because due to multiple reasons, I cannot show that. UI, all that stuff cannot be shown. So the reason why I'm just saying, whoever has that access, you can go there. So there you will be finding variable. Okay, variable as a this thing you will be finding. Okay, variable, right? So variable example were there, right? So in this variable example, driver age equal to policy.driver.age. This is a variable we have to declare on the underwriting rule when we are writing it. So this is first thing which we have to done in the functional part of it. UI, when we are updating the user interface, that is the functionality we have to update variable. Second, what should be the rule condition? This is a business rule. Okay, what is the rule condition? Rule condition stated that driver age, if driver age is lesser than 25. Now, what action to be performed by the system? Because undercurrent point here is the underline is we are giving instruction to the system to perform, to act, to behave. If system has identified the driver age is 25, less than 25 years, based on the date of birth they have given, because date of birth is mandatory when you are updating the driver details. They have identified, automatically action is that they have to referral it, right? That is what generally the referral, it has to be referred to the underwriting team. Now, technically, when you try to understand this variables and all, generally this variable is nothing but holding a value for a policy central data model. So where we can store whatever the numerics or any kind of billions or data or the steering values, everything can be part of this variable. So wherein we can write down this example as in saying, right? So variable declaration where driver is equal to policy period or something like driver age and all. So this we can be updated in the developer studio, because under the developer studio, go to the developer studio. There you can find a search button there. Okay, Control Shift and right. So you can go to the search button and you can select .gs files, .gs. Okay, start.gs files. So that all the GOSU files you will be finding. So if there is any existing GOSU file which is already written, okay, by the development team, where they have mentioned somewhere around lesser than maybe 30 years or 20 years they have mentioned. Now we have changed it to 25, we can change it. Or else if you want to write a new GOSU code for the existing one also we can write. But start.js is in search where you have to see in the Guidewire developer studio, not in the UI. UI is the front end, developer studio where being a developer we have to work upon. Now here, if you segregate this or if you can dissect all that, driver age is a variable here, whatever the numeric that we are using, and storage is will be from the data model, because in the data model we are using the storage age. At the same time, rule in this what we are performing is rule is the condition. Okay, what is the user rule in the condition? If driver age is lesser than 25, so that we are blocking the code, maybe blocking the code or blocking the submission, blocking the issuance or whatever it can be, blocking the submission, whatever it can be. So these are the ones which we need to be updated. Now, what are the different type of variables in underwriting, right? So, for example, numeric is a variable, vehicle type, vehicle value. Vehicle value can be, for example, value you have seen less than, go more than 1 lakh, $1 lakh USD, for example, or $40,000 or $50,000. Automatically, it is considered as a high valued vehicle, high valued or high risk vehicle we call it. So when it is a high risk vehicle, automatically customer insurance company wants some additional documents to be produced because of the high valued vehicles, etc. So that can be the one thing. Second, boolean nothing but prior loss. For example, true or false. Okay, yes or no, right? So all these things are comes under the boolean part. Next, date means checking the past date if you want to, right? Policy.effective.date, right? So if you want to check the past date, etc., that is all date. Next about the string, right? So string nothing but the construction type of it. Next E number, which is a vehicle type, whether it can be a truck. Truck means commercial one, sedan vehicles, any personal auto or something. All these things are the different type of variables, especially in the underwriting rule. So this is how we should understand whenever we are working on the guidewire development, especially from the practical understanding, from any learner point of view. This is not intended for guidewire development. Whoever want to have some technical knowledge or functional, both functional and technical, or only functional or only technical. We may be a business analyst, we may be a developer, or it can be of any other role. So understanding over the functionality, understanding over the logics, how this can be applied is always important nowadays, because people want someone who should have that real time exposure, which is very important. So in this regard, learning on these grounds will be helpful more, not just by learning the basics, right? So that will give you a value to an extent possible, not to the full extent. You should have this practical understanding so that you will have more knowledge by understanding different scenarios and all. So when we go for any interview, so either people will give you a scenario and they'll ask you how you have solved it, how you can solve it, or else people can tell you, can you share one of your recent past experience, right? So that we should able in a position to explain at least one scenario or so. This is all about this session.